Imagine 500 billion naira. That is more than the annual budget of several Nigerian states combined. It is a sum so vast it could transform the lives of millions of Nigerians currently living in darkness. Yet, reports suggest this mountain of wealth has vanished into a web of deceit. Today, the Director General of the Energy Commission of Nigeria stands at the center of a storm. Is this the biggest heist in the nation's energy history, or a political takedown? The Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Nigeria's elite anti-graft agency, has struck once more. This time, their target was not a petty street hustler, but a high-ranking official entrusted with the nation's renewable future. Mustapha Abdullahi's arrest has sent shockwaves through the corridors of power in Abuja. As investigators sift through thousands of documents, a chilling narrative of systemic corruption begins to emerge. How did such a massive breach of trust happen right under the public's nose in plain daylight? The Energy Commission of Nigeria was established to be the lighthouse of progress. Its mandate was simple yet vital: to provide sustainable energy solutions for a nation struggling with a failing power grid. But inside the glass-walled offices of the headquarters, something else was brewing. Instead of solar panels and hydroelectric dams, the books reportedly showed a trail of shell companies and diverted funds. The very institution meant to light up Nigeria was allegedly being gutted from within by greed. When Abdullahi took the helm, he promised a new era of transparency and innovation. He was seen as a technocrat, a man of science and strategy who would bridge the gap between Nigeria's energy needs and global climate goals. Photos of high-level meetings and international summits painted a picture of a rising star. But behind the handshakes and the polished press releases, a financial monster was growing. The EFCC claims the numbers simply do not add up anymore. Sources within the EFCC suggest that the investigation covers a period of intense financial activity. We are talking about contracts awarded to companies that exist only on paper and funds meant for rural electrification that never reached a single village. The scale of the alleged 500 billion naira fraud is unprecedented for a single commission. It represents a betrayal of the highest order, as millions of Nigerians continue to rely on noisy, polluting generators while their money disappears. Inside the EFCC interrogation rooms, the atmosphere is thick with tension. Investigators are meticulously tracing the movement of funds through a labyrinth of domestic and international bank accounts. Every transaction is a footprint, every signature a potential piece of evidence. The Director General faces grueling hours of questioning as the agency seeks to uncover his accomplices. Corruption at this level is rarely a solo act, it requires a network of silent partners and enablers willing to look the other way. To understand the gravity of this crime, one must look at the streets of Lagos and Kano. While billions were allegedly diverted, hospitals struggled to keep incubators running and small businesses shuttered due to high fuel costs. The 500 billion naira in question represents lost schools, unpaved roads, and thousands of jobs that were never created. It is not just a financial crime, it is a crime against the development and the very future of the Nigerian people themselves. Politics in Nigeria is often a game of shadows, and this arrest has sparked a fierce debate. Is this a genuine move toward accountability, or is there a deeper power struggle at play? Supporters of the Director General claim he is being targeted, while critics argue that the evidence is too overwhelming to ignore. As the presidency remains silent, the nation waits for a formal statement. The political stakes are high, and the outcome could redefine the current administration's anti-corruption legacy. A recurring theme in the investigation is the use of special-purpose vehicles or front companies. These entities, often registered in the names of associates or relatives, were used to siphon off huge sums under the guise of consultancy and procurement. Documents reveal that payments were made for projects that were never even started. The audacity of the scheme is what stuns the investigators most. It was a systematic draining of the public purse, hidden behind the complex jargon of energy policy. International observers and foreign investors are watching the situation with bated breath. Nigeria's energy sector has long been a destination for global capital, but scandals of this magnitude threaten to drive investment away. If 500 billion naira can vanish from a government commission, what does that say about the ease of doing business in the country? The arrest of Mustapha Abdullahi is a test for Nigeria's judicial system. Can it deliver justice against one of the most powerful men in the land? Every great investigation starts with a spark, and in this case, it was a whistleblower's courage. An insider within the Energy Commission allegedly provided the EFCC with the initial documents that blew the lid of the operation. This individual took an enormous risk, facing potential retaliation to expose the rot within. Their testimony could prove to be the final nail in the coffin during the trial. It reminds us that even in the darkest corners of bureaucracy, there are those who value integrity. The tragedy of this scandal lies in the missed opportunity for a green revolution. Nigeria has the potential to lead Africa in solar and wind energy, but that requires honest leadership and efficient funding. Instead of field of solar mirrors, the nation is left with empty bank accounts and half-finished projects. The dream of affordable, clean energy for every Nigerian household feels further away than ever. This fraud hasn't just stolen money, it has stolen time and progress in a rapidly warming world. The EFCC headquarters in Abuja has become the epicenter of this national drama. Journalists camp outside, waiting for any scrap of information about the detention of the Director General. The building itself, a symbol of law and order, stands as a reminder that no one is above the law. Inside, the wheels of justice are turning slowly but surely. Each file moved and each witness interviewed brings the agency closer to presenting a formal case before a federal high court judge. Forensic accountants are the unsung heroes of this story. They are currently digging through a mountain of digital data, tracing wire transfers across multiple borders. They look for patterns, hidden signatures, and the telltale signs of money laundering. In the digital age, a paper trail might be burned, but a digital footprint is nearly impossible to erase entirely. These experts are piecing together the puzzle of how 500 billion naira was moved without triggering the usual regulatory red flags at the central bank. On social media, the hashtag ECM fraud is trending as young Nigerians voice their outrage. A generation that has grown up with constant blackouts and economic hardship is tired of seeing their future squandered by the elite. They are demanding more than just an arrest, they want a full recovery of the stolen funds and long prison sentences for those found guilty. For them, this is a litmus test for the government's commitment to the renewed hope agenda they promised the people. Nigeria is no stranger to massive corruption scandals, but the 500 billion naira figure places this in a league of its own. It draws painful comparisons to past cases where billions were looted from the oil and gas sector. However, the focus on the Energy Commission is particularly stinging because it targets the very sector that holds the key to Nigeria's industrialization. Without power, there is no growth. By sabotaging the energy sector, the perpetrators are effectively sabotaging the entire national economy for years. As the EFCC builds its case, the legal team for Mustapha Abdullahi is preparing a robust defense. They argue that the allegations are politically motivated and that the figures are being widely exaggerated by the media. They claim that all expenditures were approved through the proper channels and that their client is a victim of administrative infighting. The battle in the courtroom promises to be a long and arduous one, featuring some of the most expensive and high-profile lawyers in the country. Investigators have begun visiting the sites where energy projects were supposedly implemented. In many rural communities, they found absolutely nothing. Where there should have been solar-powered water pumps, there is only dry earth. Where there should have been street lights, there is only darkness. These ghost projects are the most visible evidence of the fraud. Villagers who were promised modern amenities feel betrayed, their hopes crushed by the very officials who were sent to help them. The physical absence of work speaks volumes. President Bola Tinubu now faces immense pressure to act decisively. The international community is looking for a signal that Nigeria is serious about cleaning up its energy sector. A failure to prosecute this case effectively could damage the country's reputation and its chances of securing future climate funding. The president's advisors are likely weighing the political cost of a high-profile trial. However, the public outcry for justice is reaching a fever pitch, making it nearly impossible for the government to simply sweep this under the rug. This case highlights a deeper issue within the Nigerian civil service, a culture of impunity. For decades, many officials have operated under the belief that they are untouchable, provided they have the right connections. The arrest of a director general is a direct challenge to that mindset. It sends a message that the old ways of doing business are no longer acceptable. However, for a real shift to occur, the system itself needs structural reforms that make it impossible for such large-scale theft to happen in the future. The EFCC is also investigating whether any of the stolen funds were moved to offshore accounts or used to purchase luxury properties in foreign cities like London or Dubai. This international dimension adds another layer of complexity to the case. It requires cooperation with foreign law enforcement and intelligence agencies. If assets are found abroad, the process of repatriation could take years. The pursuit of justice does not stop at Nigeria's borders. It is a global hunt for the nation's stolen wealth and dignity. As the story unfolds, it becomes clear that this is not just about one man. It is about a system that allowed 500 billion naira to go missing without an immediate alarm. It raises questions about the effectiveness of the Auditor General's office and the various oversight committees in the National Assembly. How many others are involved? How many other commissions are hiding similar secrets? The investigation into Mustapha Abdullahi might just be the tip of an iceberg that runs deep into the bureaucracy. True change only happens when the people demand it. This scandal has awakened a sleeping giant of public consciousness. Nigerians are no longer willing to accept business as usual while their resources are plundered. The demand for transparency is louder than ever. The trial of Mustapha Abdullahi will be more than just a legal proceeding. It will be a public accounting of the state of the nation. It is a moment for Nigeria to decide what kind of country it wants to be, a kleptocracy or a democracy. 500 billion naira. A sum that could have lit up the nation, now reduced to a case file in a prosecutor's office. As Mustapha Abdullahi awaits his day in court, the people of Nigeria wait for justice. This story is a reminder of the high cost of corruption and the enduring power of the truth. The lights may be out for now, but the fire for accountability is burning brighter than ever. Stay tuned as we continue to follow this breaking investigation into the heart of Nigeria's energy crisis.